Welcome to another Alfresco video. We are talking today about Alfresco Embedded Activiti Engine for Alfresco 7.3. So the first thing we need to know is that Alfresco BPM offering is providing three different products. The first one is the Alfresco Embedded Activiti Engine that is inside the ACS, inside the repository part of the product, and the UI is integrated with Alfresco Server. There is no integration with the Angular applications like ACA or ADW, so you need to use Alfresco Server in order to use this kind of BPM engine. It's available for both community and enterprise versions, and the enterprise version had an Activity Explorer, a UI application that has been removed from ACS 7.3. On the other hand, you have also the Alfresco Process Services, APS, that is an additional product that requires licensing, so only available for enterprise, and that has the UI and the integration with ACS as a separate part. And finally, you have the Alfresco Process Automation, that is a cloud-native BPM engine that is available only as service, only as PaaS service, and also requires licensing. But let's focus on the ACS, on the Embedded Activiti Engine, and the different resources you have in order to handle this kind of workflows. The first thing you can use is the Java API. So you have this workflow service and some other additional Spring Beans in order to interact with this workflow engine. You have also a UI, the Workflow Admin Console, that is available on the Alfresco repository. And then you have also a REST API. And the REST API, it's providing two different flavors. The version 0, that is living on the Alfresco repository, and also the REST API v1 that has their own definitions by using the API Explorer, using this standard REST API description on this URL. So feel free to explore the different topics, but we are going to explore a few demos, a few things, few operations on the different resources now. Let's start by reviewing some naming conventions in Alfresco inside this Activiti Embedded Engine before moving on. So the first thing is that workflows are deployed on the Alfresco repository, and you can use an XML file. Just copy an XML file with the description of the BPM, of the workflow, of the process, or you can use an add-on. So you can also package your process inside an add-on and to deploy that to the repository. When you deploy this definition, then you have the definition itself with the XML and also all the representation of the process. And inside the definition, you have activities and variables. So you are defining that. You are defining also the users or the candidates that are able to take every activity. And when this is instantiated, when you create a new process from this definition, you have a living process or a living workflow. We are using both names for that is creating the tags with values. And also we are providing the attachment of documents, of items to this process. So this is the conceptual map. And if we move to deployment, as I said before, you can use an Alfresco add-on. This is described by JetPods on this Alfresco Developer Series tutorial. So this is a good tutorial in order to create your workflow by using this approach. Mainly, we are registering the workflow on the Spring Bean Workflow Bootstrap with a location of the definition of the process. The second operation you can do is to upload an XML file with the definition in this repository data dictionary workflow definitions folder. Just check the property workflow deployed, and after that you have also your workflow definition ready to be used on the repository. once we have that deployed, yes, we can use this kind of Java API by using, for instance, the JavaScript console provided by the order of the V, so we can get all the different definitions of the workflow. So let's see that live. So the first thing we can do is just to create a new deployment. Just let's find the workflow definition folder, and as I said before, we can just add a new XML with the definition. So inside this XML, we have the definition of the process and also the graphical representation of the diagram. And if we choose to deploy this definition, then we have the workflow ready to be used. If we move to the JavaScript console and we get this workflow bootstrap Spring Bean, then we can get all the workflow definitions that are associated to this one. You can see that is not the one that we already created on the repository. So for that, we need to use the workflow admin console. So the workflow admin console, it's a text terminal that is able to provide some different operations from the workflow engine. So if we move to that, this is the workflow admin console. At this point, we have the help command, and we have also some commands like so definitions that is going to provide all the different definitions of BPMs that are available on the repository. And in this case, you can see that we are also getting the activity hello world, that is the one that we already created. So we have these that are deployed by default by using this workflow bootstrap. These workflows are deployed by default by using this location and so on. So this should be like the add-on deployment, and if you are deploying that, you will get also that in the list. But in this case, we have also all the processes that we deploy by using this specific folder in the repository, right? So this one, this workflow definition. So in this console, despite of the help that is providing many different options, we can get also the workflow instance. So if there is some process that has been started, we can see also the workflows, right? So there is no workflows at all. Just let's check that there is no one being executed. Oh, okay, there is one because we need this show all. So we have this workflow that has been started from the definition activity ad hoc. And with that, we have also some additional options. So we can just say, so paths for the activity 28. Okay, so it's in the adult task. We can describe also the workflow just to get all the variables and so on. Activity 28. So we have the definition, the ID, the initiator, the package that should be the one containing the items. And if we want the detail of the task, we can say so task for the activity 28 workflow. And we have this running task. We can also describe this task. Activity 74. So with that, we have the ID, but we have also the properties with the value. We have also the state that is in progress. So we have like some control on that. And finally, we have also the query task operation, we can say just give me all the task that has been completed. We have no one, and if we say that we want the query state in progress, then we can see that we have this one that is running. So okay, this is a nice tooling for the to operate with all the different definitions and workflows you may have. And also, if we move forward, then we have the REST API v1, and we can get, for instance, the diagram representation for a definition. So if we go to the REST API Explorer, just using the Workflow API, you can get the deployments, you can get the process definitions, the image of the process definition, you can get all the processes that are running from a definition. You have access to the variables, to the items, and remember that variables are the properties that are associated to the process, and the items are the documents that are attached to the documents, and the same thing to operate with the task, right? And finally, if you still don't find all the operations you need, you have the v1 API. In order to access to this v1 API, so you can go to the Alfresco repository and this Weskis home, right? So you have the this one, and just find the workflow API, so you can get all the definitions and so on, and you can also operate with different endpoints. So with that, I guess that is everything you need to start working with the embedded activity engine in Alfresco. And I hope that was useful, and see you next time. Bye.